I think I'm just gonna keep talking until I find something good. My face is so washed out. Back to the shadow. Oh, Gandalf says for Balrog. I'm a huge nerd, not a makeup channel. Now that I have my face on. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about a variety of things, ranging from writing to art to whatever it is I'm currently watching, / reading, / listening to. Very few podcasts. So if you're here for that, don't be. Hello, my name is Abigail, and my life revolves around hunting and Gopher. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Give me attention! I'm Abigail. People call me Abby. Sometimes. Only if I let them. I do not have a real wall in my bedroom. That is just a bunch of bookshelves all put together. I have curly hair, but then I cut it all off, so it's just all on top now. I finally decided what I want to talk about. And that's when someone comes in the room. I went to see The Lion King 8 days ago. It was great. But it really got me thinking of like how many musicals I love. A lot of them everyone knows what they are, like Wicked and Phantom of the Opera, but there's one that nobody's heard of that I really wish everyone had heard of. It's The Lord of the Rings, the musical. The most underrated musical of this age. It's so good. My dudes, my pals, mind-blowing. So the thing about Lord of the Rings the musical is that it never was a Broadway musical. It was in Australia, which makes sense, and it was in Canada, and maybe a few other places. I haven't actually read the Wikipedia page because like I know what happens in Lord of the Rings. It was cancelled and it's not going anymore, even though it so should be. The whole thing is on Spotify. And it's so underrated. I'm so upset that so few people have actually like heard of it or know it exists, because there is literally nothing like it. There's a cloud passing over the sun again. Shall I wait it out? No, I shan't. Lord of the Rings musical. What makes it so good? For one thing, the vocals. Legolas sings so good. Oh, I can't even shut up about that song. There are songs sung in Elvish throughout the whole thing. So the prologue is sung in Elvish. I don't know which dialect. It's Sindarin? Or Kenya. I'm not that much of a nerd that I know the difference between the Elven dialects. Sweet, sweet music, and you know that something's starting, and you know that something's like growing. And I know that the whole point of Lord of the Rings is that everything's sort of stopping growing. The story grows. Characters grow. So the road goes on. It's beautiful. So it's like 4 hobbits. They're all, you know, on their way to Bree or whatever, and they actually do encounter the elves. In the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam sort of do encounter the elves a little bit, like they see them. It goes from this sort of folksy Shire tune to this elven magical theme, and it just sort of mixes all together so perfectly and beautifully. So there's Saruman, the song Saruman, and I think this one is so good because it's like, it makes so many nods towards the deep lore of Lord of the Rings, and like it mentions Iluvatar, and it mentions the Valar, all in Elvish. And it's just sort of, it doesn't really like have cohesive sentences, but it is the banger of the musical. It's quite a banger. It's Cat and Moon. It's where Frodo gets up and dances on the table, a little bit tipsy, and puts on the ring. But there's a banger of a song right before then. It just gives you such a whimsical feeling. There are actually a bunch of instrumental. Well, I say a bunch. I'd say there are So there are 6 instrumental songs. So there's The Flight to the Ford. There's The Song of Hope, which at first I thought that Arwen sung this to Aragorn, but it actually turns out that Arwen sings it to Frodo, which Frodo is my favorite character in Lord of the Rings. So that's when he's been stabbed, obviously, by the Morgul blade, and you know, he's in the House of Elrond, he's healing. She sings the Song of Hope, and it warmed my heart. There's the Star of Yarndil, which Arwen sings. It's the send-off from Council of Elrond, send-off from Rivendell. They're just leaving. The road goes on, so on, and so forth. The Lament for Moria, sung by Gimli and Gandalf. Beautiful voices. They mix so well. It's a very short, sad song, and you know, you get the feeling of melancholy. It very much puts out the emotions that you're meant to feel. There's the Golden Wood, which is sort of leading up to Lothlorien, and it's short, it's sweet, it's like it ties in really nice. Okay, Lothlorien, best song of the whole musical. Like, when I heard Lothlorien the first time, I think I actually cried a little bit. It's gorgeous. I don't know how else to say this. You feel like you've heard the song before. That's how it is. It captures the whole Tolkien tone. Everything about Middle Earth feels so familiar, but like you're only catching whispers of it, and you know that there's more to it than you could possibly imagine. But you just can't get it, and it's beautiful. Things are never as deep as I think they are. There's the Siege of the City of Kings. There's the final battle, which, guess what? Not the end, because if we know anything about Lord of the Rings, it has to have a million endings. There's the epilogue, Farewells, makes me cry every time. Listen, anytime, at any moment that someone is watching Lord of the Rings and they're watching Frodo leave for the Grey Havens, I know it's happening, and I'm crying. And then there's the finale, which I assume is a curtain call. I don't know, because I can never find any place to watch it legally. Now and for always. I just love that one. It's folksy, and I don't know exactly where they are when they sing this, but you know, Frodo and Sam are by themselves. They're just like very tired, very sort of done with this whole thing already. It's beautiful. I love it. It makes my heart so warm. I have a hair in my mouth. Ugh. Gollum and Smeagol. It's very well acted, but it makes me so mad. Wonder. This is sung by Galadriel, and it sort of reprises Lothlorien a little bit. It's a melancholy song. It's not sad, though, if that makes sense. It's just sort of an acknowledgement that things around her are dying, and not the way nothing's gonna be the same after the ring is destroyed, and she should move on. It's sort of emotional. So, yep, that's my review of Lord of the Rings the musical. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Please come back. I would pay good money to see this. And it's one of my favorite musicals, and I'm so upset that I'm never going to be able to see it. That part concluded, I now bring you to the part of the show where I do the basic YouTuber spiel and ask you to like, to comment, to subscribe. Comment down below if you have a favorite musical that's been canceled, or if you disagree with me and there is a more underrated musical. Bye!